and today we are going to talk about scary stuff. Not just any scary stuff. We're going to talk about an entire school dedicated to the art of scaring people. I'm talking, of course, about Monsters University, from the second greatest animation studio on planet Earth. You cannot touch Studio Ghibli. You cannot. This is Monsters University. This movie takes place before Sully and Mike met each other. Mike's big dream is, of course, to be a world-class scarer. In case you don't know Monsters lore, this is basically the screams of frightened children is the thing that powers their universe, and you're basically the harvester of electricity through the screams of the children. And so in Monsters University, Mike, played by Billy Crystal again, meets Sully, played by John Goodman again. Sully, he comes from a family of world-class scarers. The school believes that he will be, one of the great ones because of his background. So he doesn't have to, do too much work to get a lot of points. Mike, however, has a bit of a problem. The other students doesn't think he looks scary. The teacher doesn't think he has what it takes. But most troublesome is Dean Hardscrabble, played by Helen Mirren, who clearly don't think he is the material of Monsters University and wants to expel him. Before they know it, they have to share rooms, and to get out of the expelling thing, Mike enters a contest to try to win and not only prove that he's a great scarer, but also showing the dean that she was wrong. There is problems with this one, but the biggest problem by far is the story. Stories is usually the strongest part of any Pixar movie. They can look how gorgeous they want to, but they always have a great story to back it up with, well, except that one and that one. But here it is such a cliched story because this is just a college movie. With the contest, with the likable underdogs and the best and the brightest who are also assholes. Why are you always asshole, biggest and brightest and best in the school? So the story is weak, but this movie has more good characters than it deserved. There's always the good attention to details. That is the thing that drives a good Pixar movie. Even this more of a lackluster ones. For some reason, this movie can't help itself by having amazing characters, great voiceovers, fantastic special effects, and amazing animations. God, this movie looks great. God, has Pixar ever made a movie that has looked bad? Bug's Life, maybe, but I still thought that movie was kind of okay. So Billy Crystal and John Goodman is basically as good as they were the last time they were doing the Monsters movie. And there is just so much fun stuff going on in this movie that you sometimes forgive them for, playing it very safe. There is one more problem with this movie, in my opinion, and that is the prequel. Prequel hole. I've mentioned it before, that we know that they're going to end up as scarers at Monsters University. We know that they're going to be friends. Sure, they may not like each other right now, but we know that they're going to be friends. That seems so unnecessary, and it just takes up that much time. And also, is it just me who thinks that the entire expelling because I don't look scary bit of the movie is a little naff? Let's take a look at Mike for a second. Let's take a look at him. Okay, so you are a lime-colored ball with sharp teeth, big eyes, and something that looks a bit like devil's horn. Using the right way, you could look really, really, really scary, I think. This thing can be really scary in the eyes of the correct child. So let's take a look at your other dude, Sully. Oh, he looks like an adorable rug that I would like to hug. Good rhyme. Hashtag rug I want to hug. In my opinion, these two basically feels about the same. They look pretty adorable, both of them. So I really don't know what she's talking about. The dean actually looks a bit menacing. It is also because Helen Mirren tones her voice down a little bit. good one. The movie is very manipulative, it's very easy to like the ragtag underdogs, and it is very easy to very much dislike those assholes in the, you know, assholes club. So the movie has a lot of humor that works, and they have good characters, and they have a good pacing, and there is a lot of, you know, funny things going on, and all the creativity. But I'm sorry, but the dumbness of the story and the lameness of the concept just drags this movie down with itself, but not entirely, because there is a silver lining to this movie. That thing is called the end. If you have a good ending, it can salvage an entire movie. However, this is not the type of ending that salvages a movie, but it allows it to leave on a strong note. I'm gonna go on a little bit about why it works in a sort of spoiler corner once I've given the rating for this one. It is one of the weaker of the Pixar movies, but not in the Cars region of movies. It is not as good as the first one, and it absolutely cannot touch the all-time great ones, you know which I'm talking about. On the other hand, if you haven't seen this one yet in the Pixar filmography, I would suggest you check it out. It is not a waste of time. It is a okay movie. It doesn't compromise the characters or anything, or it doesn't do anything that is too terrible, and it is entertaining, and children will probably like this one, and as I said, it has a pretty solid ending. This movie gets the rating of 51. It does have its moments, and the strong ending lifts it up, but it can still only muster this much. Oh yeah, so let's talk about spoilers for a second. So, in the end, you believe that the normal thing is going to happen. He is going to, you know, win the contest. Dean is going to be slightly humiliated in some loathsome ways, and she's gonna have to prove that she was wrong all along, and you know, he's gonna graduate, and they're gonna throw up their hats and stuff like that. But in a stroke of small genius, he actually doesn't win, and he is expelled, and out of sheer, what would you say, camaraderie, Sully also gets expelled for sticking up for him. But the dean isn't done with him yet. She says that Mike surprised her. She hasn't been surprised in that way before, and she suggests that they would take on a lighter job at Monsters Inc. and they could sort of work their way the back door. Not everybody has to go to university to end up on Monsters Inc. So they start working at the post office, and that's where our movie ends. And it is implied that you know, they rises through the chains and become scarers as they intended, but not in the way we thought it was going to be. It was kind of brilliant in, you know, toying with our expectations, and also, you know, proving that failure sometimes doesn't mean that you have failed for all time. That's a good message, and I like that one. However, it do represents one other problem. They could have made a much better movie. How? Well, they could have used Monsters University. The plot as sort of a 3 to 5 minute long slideshow in the beginning of the prequel to Monsters Inc., in which Sully and Mike sort of commentating it, sort of like, oh, do you remember that thing when I was expelled? Yeah, it was not my fault. Oh, it was too. And they could bicker a bit about, and they would show how he was expelled and how the thing would lead to the sequence where they are in the mailroom, and they are going to, and from there we see how they, you know, rise to the ranks in Monsters Inc. I think that one would have been a better movie. Anyway, that's it for today. This is the Wikstrand signing out.